Hey guys, so in this video I'll be showing you how to send emails from your console, from your command line, rather. So you'll be sending emails from your command line, and you will also be able to set up the cron job to send those emails. So we'll take it in bits, right? Okay, and in this tutorial I'll be using Mailtrap. Now, Mailtrap is an email sandbox service. So basically what it does is you can use it to test emails to be sure that your emails are getting delivered. Okay. So instead of using Gmail Ssmtp, for example, which might have way more limitations that you can possibly handle and debug, you can also use these email services, this Ssmtp services, basically to send your emails. Now there's a free tier, there's a free version, and if you click on the pricing, it will also show you if you want to use like the free, if you want to use like the paid version, it costs about $10 monthly. But the free version is okay because what we're doing is we're just checking that emails are being sent. Okay, you don't even have to send it to your own, you don't even have to send it to your own actual email address. All right, so that's what this thing just does. It just helps you to trap those emails that are sent, and then you'll be able to utilize them. So go to Mailtrap, create an account, and once you create an account, you set up a project like this inside of it. You just create like a project. So like I've done mine here, I created a project called Old School. Okay, I'll just show you the process again. So let me delete this. All right, so by default you won't have any projects when you create your account, but the wizard will take you through how to do it. So you create a project. I'm not sure if it will allow me to delete it. Okay, so yes, so you create a new project. I'll call mine ELC, and then you now add an inbox. So an inbox basically is where you want emails to go, and when you add an inbox, it generates the SMTP credentials that you need to set up the email on your server. All right, so you click on add inbox, and let me call this Alt School Cloud. I think this is fine. You can give it whatever name you want, it doesn't matter. Right, so open it up, and then right here, when you open it, you see under this SMTP, let me collapse this. Under this SMTP tab, you see show credentials, right? So it's here, show credentials. So this is what we need to set up our SMTP service on our server. Okay, so next thing we want to do now is to set up our server, basically. Right, so let us get into our server. So we've created an account on Mailtrap. The other things we need to install are SSMTP, which just means simple secure mail transfer. It's just a package that allows you to send emails from within your Linux operating system, your Linux box, the server itself. And then we'll also install Mailutils. So Mailutils allows you, so we're doing SSMTP, we're doing Mailutils, and we've already done Mailtrap. Okay, so it's just to install this package and this package, then we're done with the setup. Then we configure SSMTP, of course. So let's start with SSMTP. So I'm not running anything as root, so please try not to run all of these commands as root user. Right, so let me go into my machine. I think, okay, so let me use this one. So Vagrant SSH, and bang, it's in there. Right, so cleared my screen. So the first thing I want to do is to install the SSMTP package. So sudo apt install Ssmtp, and we also want to install Mailutils, but let's do it one after the other. Okay, so yes, this one is quicker. Now we want to install Mailutils, so Mailutils. So I'll say yes. I'm using the -y because I don't want it to start asking me first. It should just go ahead and install, right? So let me clear my screen. So the next thing is we want to configure the Ssmtp. All right, so let's do that. Just minimize this a little, pull it to the side. So let me increase the font. Okay. Or I could just do this. I can just do this. So I'll minimize on it and restore as I choose. So let's go to the configuration file. So it's nano, or rather add a sudo command / sudo nano /etc /ssmtp /ssmtp.conf. That's configuration. So this is the path for the configuration file for Ssmtp. We want to put the Mailtrap credentials inside it so that when it wants to send, it will use Mailtrap credentials to send. We don't want to use Gmail. I don't want to use Gmail. I want to use Mailtrap. So I've run this, and then here we have root. So what this here is that's the from email. That's the route. That's whenever emails are being sent, who gets it on the system. So you can change this to your you could use your own personal email address. You could use any email address, but for the sake of this test, if you know that you're using Mailtrap, you could use anything, it will fly. So I can even do this. I can do this support at Vagrant. No, let me do support at vagrant.server.moscow.local. I'm just using like my own like email address, something. So this is the host name of my computer already. If you've not set up your host name, you can set this up. I will also check if I've set it up. I'm not sure if it's set up, but I'll check it. Now the next thing you want to configure is the mail hub. So the mail hub here is the host. That's what is Ssmtp going to use to send that email. That's the outgoing SMTP server. So we'll go back to our Mailtrap account. So this is the host. So just copy this and then paste it, replace this mail. Okay, make sure to add a port. So let's use 465, right? And remember, if you have already enabled a firewall on your system, you need to allow port 465. If not, your emails will not be sent. Whatever port it is you want to use here, and the ports that are allowed, 25 or 465, or if you're using Start TLS, then you can use 587 or 2525. So you need to allow any or all of these ports for it to work well. If you do not allow it, then nothing will leave your machine. It will not be able to send the email. So please remember that. So make sure you add the port like this. Then you might want to enable this as well. So this from address, for example, when you get an email from somebody, it says from old school, and it puts the email of that old school account. So maybe it's customer service at oldschoolafrica.com, something like that. So this setting means that it should allow you to override that from address when you are sending the email. So you might also keep this enabled. It's not compulsory, you can disable it if you don't want. If you want the computer to use a system generated one. Now the next thing we'll do is to configure the Mailtrap credential. So I'll say let me just leave a comment and say Ssmtp then no, let me say Mailtrap credentials. So the reason I'm doing this is tomorrow, if I want to come back to this file, I know that these settings are specifically for Mailtrap. I can have multiple of them like that and comment the one I don't want to use out. Now, don't try to put multiple SMTP credentials in one file unless you are programmatically going to choose when it wants to send, which is a little more advanced. So just stick with one. It's either you're using Gmail, or you're using Outlook, or you're using Mailtrap, or you're using AWS, or any other type of email service SMTP provider that you want to use, right? So the first thing we want to do is the username. So you type auth user, put an equal to, then let's copy the credentials. So for the username, we'll copy this username and then we paste it. Then the next one is auth pass equal to, so we'll put the password. So let's copy the password from Mailtrap and then we paste it. Then the other ones, use TLS. We can set this to optional because Mailtrap here also says it can be optional. It says it's, it's optional. So let's say then use start TLS. Let's set it to yes. Okay. Let's set it to yes for now. So save this. Oops, I made an error. I wrote user start TLS. That's wrong. So it's use start TLS. Correct it to use start TLS. So I'll save it again. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it here. Let me confirm that I have my host name set properly. Hostname CTL. No, it's not set, so I need to set it. So I will say hostname CTL set hostname, and I paste the hostname. Oops, I need to run it as sudo. Right. These are some other static transient, and let me set the pretty name. So this one will be I'll just set this one to ULC Moscow server, and this will be the pretty name. All right, so let's do hostname CTL again. So you see that everything I set here, so you see the server name is now intact, and it's also set to the pretty host name. Some of these things, they show up. So like this, for example, these two things will show, these two will show up if you're trying to connect via FTP using FileZilla. This is going to show up, okay? And sometimes some providers, they ask what this is before it will allow connection. It kind of asks at least the host name, the static host name. It may not ask about the pretty host name, but it will ask about the static host name. Okay, so make sure that your host name is set. You don't have to set these three. Just make sure that you set the first one. Just do the first one. All right. So now we want to test our email. And to test our email, it's a very simple syntax. I'll show you like the full complete syntax that makes it very cool. Since we're using Mailutils, so the first thing you want to do is mail. You type mail, then you can put the subject of the email. So the subject of the email, say in this case, I'll say meeting reminder. Then let's put the body. So we put a pipe. So this is, we want to type the body of the email. So you would say echo hello Patrick. Please, so I used shift enter to go to the next line. Please be reminded about the meeting today. I'm not sure if I should have used enter, but anyway, I think I have to cancel that. My apologies. I was trying to add like a new line, so I will skip that. Instead, I'll just type it in like that. So please be reminded about the meeting at 12 p.m. today. So close the quotes, and then you want to add the recipient. That's who should receive that email. Again, with Mailtrap, you can put in anything, or you can just put in like a real email address. So I'll just say, let me just say John Doe at example.com. All right, so this is it, and then you just press enter. So it's going to send the email now. It's going to try and send it. Let's see. It hasn't been sent yet. Looks as if it is frozen. Okay. It hasn't sent it just yet. But I think I've missed the syntax, so let me try to cancel this. So I'm hitting Control C like a few times. Oh yeah, so the syntax is wrong. So what I should have done is first start with this, with the body. So I'm going to echo hello Patrick. So my apologies, sorry. Please be reminded about the meeting at 12 p.m. today. So close this, and then we'll add a pipe, and then we'll add the subject. So you see mail -s, and then you put the subject. So the subject is meeting reminder. We're just testing the email to make sure it works. Then who is the recipient? John Doe at example.com. Okay, so I believe the syntax is okay. So let's run it. You press enter to run it. Okay, so good. Let's go. There we go. You see the first email actually went. The first one actually went. It's okay, but this is the second one. So you see, this is the content. Hello, Patrick, please be reminded about the meeting at 12 p.m. today. So you see that it works. What if we wanted to add an attachment? So let's first of all, let's create an attachment. Let me say touch names.txt and echo James into the file names.txt. Names.txt it's in the same folder, so that's why it will work. If the file is in another directory, make sure that you put the path, like put the actual real path. So something like this. Okay, so I'm still in the same part, in the same folder, so that's why I'm putting it like this. So I think this should work, right? Okay, so we can, let's see what's in our file. Right, so we have James, so we can even add more. Let's see, can we add more like this? Ooh, I think we might have to do another and John to names.txt. Let's change, oops, let's change this James, because we already have James inside. So let's change this one to Mary. So let's run it, and then let's cut the names. All right, so we have 3 names inside. Now we want to send this names.txt as an attachment. So let's just go back to the previous mail command. I'm just using my up arrow key to scroll to go back in history. So I've gone back to what I've written before. So let's just change the content. So let me change this to say, hello Patrick, please see attached the names of the students, right? And then in the subject, I'll just change the subject to names of students. Okay, I'll leave the email that way, so I can run this. Sorry, not yet. So before that, after the subject, you put a -a flag, capital A, uppercase A. If you use lowercase a, it is something else. It means headers. It means you want to change the headers of the email. So you use capital A for attachments. Then you specify what the attachment is. So let me just put the full path. So I'll say home, because I know this is where it is. So that's why I'm putting it like this. Names.txt. Right, so this is fine. Now I can run this. So enter to run it, and then let's check. Okay, so this is done. So let's check. There we go. So here we are. So this is the body of the email, right? And this is the attachment. So you can actually click on this to download it. If I open up the file, it also shows, right? So these are the names of the people, right? So all of this is good to go. So this is how you will send emails as attachments. Now the elephant in the room is to create the bash script that would write the memory usage of the server and send it at midnight. So we'll do that in a bit. All right, so now let's create a bash script that allows us to send an email at midnight, and that email will contain an attachment of the log of that machine, of the RAM usage of that machine at that time. So let's do that quickly. So I'll clear this screen. Right, so where are we currently? We're in this. So I'll just create a new directory. Let's call it logs. Okay, then I'll enter the folder called logs. So what I want to do is to save, I want to be able to save those files, the log file inside of this folder. So now I would let's create our bash script. So we would say nano ram log.sh. Okay, so next you put your shebang, bin bash, and then next let's store all of our things in variables. Everything, both the file path and all of that, let's store it in variables. All right. So I would say log file path. So I'll just call this one log file, and I want to save it in this place, logs ram underscore log, sorry, ram.log. All right, so I want to save it to this file. The next thing is I want to what can we do? So the next thing we want to do is we want to save the date as a variable. That's the time when we want it to send. Is that really necessary at this point? Okay, first let's save the recipient. That's where we want to send the emails to, the email to. Let's save it as a variable. So I would say email, let me just say email recipient, and that email address would be support@server.mask. So this can be your normal email address. Okay, sorry, .local. This should actually be wrapped in quotes. Yeah, correct. The next thing is let's use a function. So we can write a function. Let's write a function. We would say function. Let's write a function that sends the email. So let me put a comment. Create log and send. Okay, let's just do create log. Let's create a function that creates the log file. Create log file. So we say function, let me call it create log. Let me call it create log like this. Then parentheses. So in this function, the first thing we want to do, because every time the command runs, it will check. We want to be able to remove the file if it's there. So we want to check if this file exists. I think that's proper. Let's check first if this file exists. So say if test f. So if that file exists, so we'll say log file. So if this log file exists, then if the log file exists, then remove it. Remove the one that is there. rm rf log file. So remove it. If it already exists, remove it. Else, if it is not, that's if it is not there, else create the file. Touch log file. Create the file. Then, so if it is not there, create the file. Then put the dates. Let's put the current dates in the file. Then put yeah, I think just put the memory usage stuff. So free h, then log file. So put the memory usage. Okay. And anything else? I think that's it. So we end the if else statement and then we close the function. So we've written our function. So we've written a function called create log, and what it does is it will test if this file exists. If the file exists, delete it. The reason why we're doing that is that we don't want a situation where we just go ahead and start writing to the file. What will then happen is it will put the log of today will be written to the file. It will send the email. Then the next time the cron job runs, it will add another content to the existing content that is there and send both of them at the same time in one file. So you now have two logs. You essentially have two bits of information about the RAM usage. So you have the log, you have the usage for yesterday and today in the same file, and as it keeps running, it will keep appending and the file will keep growing. But that's not what we want to do. We want to see only the log for that current day or that current time. Okay, so we've created a function. Now we want to send the email, so let's send the email. So first let's create one more variable. Let's create one more variable up here. So this variable, basically what it's going to do is going to convert the date to a number format so that we can compare, so that we're going to format the date basically. Then it will put it as like regular numbers. So instead of having Wednesday just extract only the hour and the minutes. That's all. We only need the hour and the minutes. So what we're doing is we're formatting the date to extract the hour and the minutes, so that we'll be able to compare it to a number and then send. Okay, so let's do format date. So let's create a variable called send time. Yeah, I think this works. Then we'll put the date. So make sure that you put that $, because date is actually a built-in keyword. So if you don't put it in the parentheses and put the $, it would render it as a string. All right, or it would run into an error and tell you, just basically give you some errors. All right, so date, and then let's format it. So we want the hour and we want the minute. So we'll close this. So that's our date. Okay, so now let's go back and send our email. So we say if so two square brackets, open two square brackets. So if send time, yeah, I think this should work. If send time is equal to 0000. So actually this should be this way. If send time is equal to 0000, then let's close this. Then now we should send our email. So if the time is this, then send the email. So echo, remember we'll start with echo. We have to start with the body. Case support here, please see attached the memory log for today. Okay, then put the pipe space, then put a pipe, then another space, then mail, and then you put the subject, which just says, let's just say RAM usage. The subject is RAM usage. Then we'll put the attachment, so capital A. Then we specify the log file variable because we already have it, so that's what we want to attach. And then the recipient, so what do we use as recipient? We said email. All right, so email is the keyword, is the variable name we've used for recipient. So email. So let me zoom this out. All right, so what this is saying is to create the email. So this is the body of the email, this is the subject, and this is the attachment. Then this is who should get the email, right? So we can end this statement. So I think yeah, I think this looks good, right? Yeah, I think we've got everything just right and correct. What else can we do? I think that's all. So we'll save this and exit, and make sure to make that file writable. Make sure that the RAM log is writable, is executable rather. So let's just do it chmod plus x, and it's called ram underscore log.sh. So I've made it executable. So yeah, right. What else? All right, so next we want to do our cron job. If you have not installed cron job already on cron already, just install it. So let me see. I'm not sure I installed it before. Oh, it's already installed. Okay, that's great. All right, so now let's set up our cron. So we go to cron tab E, and since this is my first time doing this on this one, I'll just choose 1. It's basically just asking what editor do you want to use to edit your cron tab. So I'll use Nano. You can use whatever one that suits you. So here we are. Now we set our cron job. So to send, let it send at every minute, you just put a star space star space. That's 5 times. 1 2 3 4 5. Then we'll put a bash command, and then we'll put the path to that that's the path to the script, to the bash script. So vagrant /logs /ram underscore log.sh. I believe that's the correct name. Yep, so this is good to go. Save and exit. So that's it. We have configured it. But now, how do we know it's working? Do we have to wait until it's 12 o'clock? Okay, do we have to wait until it's 12 o'clock? Sorry, there's a slight thing we need to do here. So this should actually be 0, because what it means is at every minute of every hour of every day of the month. Okay, so now we can test this. If we wanted to test it every minute, if we want it to be sending every minute, just because we want to quickly test, then we can now do this. Okay, which means that in our script as well, we will need to modify the if-else statement that checks the time conversion, or we can just comment it out altogether just to be sure that, okay, this thing is actually sending. So let's leave it at this, then let's save it. Okay, let's go back to our cron, our script rather, and change this, because it will not run, because this will fail. So if end time is what's the current time on the system? So my current time is 2:03 p.m. So let me set this as that's 205 because it's already 204. So I'll say 0205, or rather 14. This should be 1405 because it's using 24 hours. So this will be 1405. So I'll save this and exit. Okay, so let's wait. Let's see how this happens. My time is currently 2:04 p.m. and 43 seconds. Okay, still counting. So let's see. I hope it works. So it's currently 14:04. So now it is 14:05. So our cron job should have run. So let's check. ls. It hasn't run just yet. Okay, so what could be wrong? Okay, let's change this. I hope it's not using oh, it might actually. Okay, so there's something that we didn't consider. We didn't consider the time zone of the server currently. So let's set it to time date CTL. So it's currently 1 p.m. so it's behind. So let's change it to, oops, sorry, my bad. Let's change it to African time. So I think the thing is we can set the time zone. So we say time date CTL set time zone. So let's set it to Africa, Lagos. Oops, we need to add the sudo command. Okay, so let's check the time zone again. Okay, so now it is correct. So my local time, that's the time on the server presently is this. It's already 2:07. So let's go and change our script very quickly. Log. Let's change our script to, so that's why I said this is 14. So this will be 14:08. So save. All right, so now we wait. So let's see. At 14:08, it should, that cron should run. That's every minute from then on. It should start running. Okay, so let's see. I'm just checking the time zone. That's why I keep hitting this over and over again. Just checking the current time. Okay, so now it's 14:08. Let's see now if it has run. ls. It still has not run. So what is the issue? So let's look at our interesting. Okay, so we created a function, but we didn't call the function, so it doesn't know what to do. So let's do this. So we call the function create log, this. So save. Let's change this to 1409. and it should run right about now. I think, did we manage to I don't know if we managed to meet the time. Aha, it created it. Awesome. So let's check our email. You can see it created a log here. So let's check our email. Yeah. Woo! There we go. A few seconds ago. And this is the attachment. Awesome, right? There we go. So you see now it's going to keep sending this every minute on, because that's what we did in our cron. Okay, so now you can safely modify the cron. Sorry, we can just run cron tab E, and let's change this to this. So it will run. So what this just means is it will run it at every minute of every day. We can actually use a site called cron guru. So let's do that. Let's verify that we've done the correct thing. So cron tab guru, we can paste that here. Okay, so this is running it at every minute, which is not what we want. We don't want it to keep running every minute, so we should run this at I think there's a flag to actually run at a specific time. So this should be at 12. This is at 12 a.m. Every day. So it should be this. So this is the correct syntax. So to run this at 12 a.m., that's 0 minute at 12 a.m. every day. So every 12 a.m. it will run this command. So let's copy this and replace what we have here. So you see how that resource can be helpful. So we can save our file. So that's it. We've pretty much configured we've configured it to run. Okay, so yeah, that's how you configure your file, your email, and you can add an attachment to it, and then it sends it to the email account. So if you're using Gmail, just to give you a heads up, so for Gmail, if you still want to use Gmail SMTP, you need, first of all, you need to log into your Gmail account and configure what they call less secure apps. So you can just Google it, turn on less secure apps for Gmail. Oh, that already shows. So this is you can see Google has a help guide, and now you see to help keep your account secure from May 30, 2022, Google no longer supports the use of third-party apps or devices which ask you to sign into your account using only your username and password. Okay, so yeah, but that's just a note. So you can see if less secure apps is turned off, you can turn it back on. So if you click on this, it will take you to your account and then you can turn it on. Okay, but well, this is not going to work for me because I'm already using two-factor authentication. So if you're using two-factor authentication, it means you need to generate what they call an app password. So you say generate. So if you're not using 2FA presently, then just turn on less secure apps, and then you'll be able to it will allow you to send an email. But if you're using two-factor authentication, then you need to generate app password Gmail. So you see, signing in with app passwords. So this is what you need to, this is the guide you need to follow. Sign in with app passwords. So instead of, in the configuration file, in the Ssmtp configuration file, we specified the username and password of this guy over here. Where is it? So we specified this instead as our username and password. But if you want to use Gmail, it means you will use your username will be your Gmail account, email address, and then the password will be the app password that you've generated for that particular email account. Same thing applies to if you want to use Outlook and all of that. They all treat the same. That's why the hassle is a bit much when using those kind of things. This is a little easier, as you've seen from what we've done. So try it on your own. Learn from the mistakes that I made, and correct yours on your end, and you would see it works just fine. Okay.